Hello and welcome back everyone, we Weeb Online, and today I'm gonna start a new series, What If Naruto Saved the Uchiha Clan Part 1. If you enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up, and to watch more videos like this, subscribe to my channel and turn that bell notification on so you never miss an upload. Now wasting no more time, let's begin.
Naruto was 4 years old and wandering around Konoha without a plan. He had never had anyone in his life, not parents, siblings, or anyone else. As his fellow Konoha residents looked at him with hateful looks, he only looked down because he didn't want to meet their eyes. Then, a man who looked angry smashed a bottle over his head, knocking him to the ground and shaking him out of his self-hatred. "You fucking brat," he said as he looked at Naruto, who was bleeding and crying. "Why did you have to be born? Why couldn't you just die and leave us good people alone?" He growled as other people in the area started to yell and throw things at Naruto. Naruto, who was hurt and scared, ran as fast as he could away from the scene. He didn't know that a pair of red eyes with 3 Tama were locked on him. Naruto stopped running when he got into a forest and finally lost the group of people who were bothering him. As far as he could remember, they insulted him, spat on him, and sometimes even punched or kicked him. He didn't like it or them. He was crying about how bad things were when he heard someone land in front of him. Naruto was scared at first when he saw the man who had just shown up. He looked like an older man with shoulder-length brown hair, dark eyes, and a serious face. He was wearing a ninja flak jacket and his black long-sleeve shirt had a strange symbol on the left sleeve. The man said, "You fools," in a deep, commanding voice that made Naruto shiver. Naruto said in a shaky voice, "Who are you?" and got scared when the man reached behind him. He was about to run away when he saw the man pull out a small medical kit. The man said, "Don't be afraid, boy," as he walked up to Naruto and started to clean and bandage the wound on his head. As soon as he was done, he stood back up and looked at Naruto. "It's a damn shame," he said. "You and your clan are like me and mine, feared and hated because of ignorance and bigotry." Naruto's eyes were wide when he saw him. Naruto asked the man, "What do you mean?" He was no longer afraid of the man, but he was still on edge. "I asked the old man over and over, but he never answered." As the man sighed, Naruto said. He knelt down again and looked Naruto in the eyes. "That Hokage of ours is a naive fool," he said. "I can tell you why you're hated, but you have to promise to keep it a secret or I'll be killed." Naruto shivered. Naruto was quiet for a minute while he thought about whether or not he should listen to the man. When he made up his mind, he said only 2 words, "Tell me." The man's eyes turned red and had a strange pattern in the middle. He looked directly at Naruto and said one word, "Tsukayomi." Naruto and the man both blinked 3 times, and the jutsu was over. But for Naruto and the man, it felt like hours as the man told Naruto the truth in the genjutsu he made. Naruto sat down with wide open eyes. He was the one who held the 9 tails. He was the 4th Hokage's son. Then he got angry and clenched his fists. Why was he living in a run-down apartment? Why did everyone hate him even though he was holding a dangerous monster? Why did his father choose to sacrifice his own son for a village that had grown to hate him? Naruto started to cry and sob when he heard the news. The man then grabbed him and held him. Naruto was silenced. No one had ever held him or shown him sympathy or care before. When the man stopped talking to Naruto, he looked at him. "Naruto," he started, "go to the Hokage and ask him again why everyone hates you. If he lies to you again, I'll let you decide what to do." As he turned around and started to leave, he stopped and turned around. "I'll be here waiting for you tomorrow, and we can talk about what you should do next," he said as he disappeared in a cloud of leaves. The office of Hokage. Hiruzen was doing his usual paperwork when he heard a knock at the door. "Come in," he said, even though he wasn't in the mood for visitors. His mood changed when he saw Naruto walk in. Hiruzen said, "Naruto, my boy," with joy in his voice. "What brings you here?" he asked with a smile. He stopped smiling when he saw that Naruto looked angry, and he was surprised that Naruto didn't call him old man or say anything about taking his place as Hokage. Naruto called him Lord Hokage, which made Hiruzen nervous because Naruto had never called him that before. "Why am I hated, and who are my parents?" he asked in a direct way. Hiruzen sighed because he knew why Naruto was asking these questions. "Naruto, I've told you before that I can't tell you who your parents were," he started. But Naruto turned around and walked out the door before he could finish. Naruto stopped for a moment and looked at Hiruzen with eyes that were much colder than his usual warm blue ones. Naruto began, "Lord Hokage." As he left the room, he said, "I think we're done here. Don't come see me anymore, don't help me, and stay out of my life." Hiruzen was stunned because he had never thought Naruto would do something like that. He then shut his eyes and put his hands on his head. Hiruzen thought, "I'll talk to him in a few days. I'm sure he'll calm down enough for me to explain it to him." He looked back up at the door Naruto had left through. but he had no idea that this was the last time he would see Naruto for a long time. The day after, Naruto walked back to the place where he met the man the day before. A few seconds later, the man came out of the shadows and asked, "Did you talk to him?" Naruto said yes, and the man then asked, "And what do you think of him now?" Naruto gave him a cold look. "I hate him. I hate him for lying to me. And I don't care if he dies or not." Naruto said, "I hate this village, too. I don't belong here, and I never will." And the man nodded. Then Naruto started shaking with anger, and the man put his hand on his shoulder. "I can hide you from them," he said, and Naruto started to look hopeful. "I can make you strong, and I can give you a reason to exist. All you have to do is swear your loyalty to me and become my apprentice," he said as Naruto looked stunned. Naruto had never had anyone in his life, but now he had someone who wanted him, was honest with him, and would help him if he said yes. Naruto said, "I accept," and the man laughed at the boy, who looked determined. He stood up straight, turned on his Sharingan, and spoke in a strong voice. "My name is Fugaku Uchiha, but you can call me Master Fugaku or just Master." Understood. The boy scowled and bowed as Fugaku spoke. Naruto said, "Yes, Master." Fugaku put his hand on Naruto's shoulder, and the two of them disappeared in a swirl of leaves. After 4 years, Danzo Shimura and his 2 bodyguards, Fu and Torun, were walking back to their base of operations just outside of Konoha. Danzo was happy because everything was going according to plan. His seeds of mistrust were growing as the Uchiha clan became more suspicious every day and got closer to starting their coup. Danzo saw this as a way to get rid of a troublesome clan and get the Sharingan, which would help him reach his goals. Lord Danzo Fu spoke up, which got the attention of the Warhawks. He started, but was cut off when a kunai went into his head and he fell forward dead. Danzo and Torun both got into fighting positions as they got ready to fight off the person who was waiting for them. Torun's head was then cut off, and Danzo didn't hold back. He took off the bandages on his right arm to show a prosthetic arm with 10 Sharingans in it. Then, a small masked figure appeared in front of Danzo. "So it was you, Shimura?" the figure said as Danzo stared at him intently. "You are the one who has been killing and stealing from the Uchiha clan," the figure said as he took a fighting stance and held his ninjato in front of him. "I don't know who you are, but you're a fool for trying to fight me," Danzo said as he charged at the figure and threw a fire jutsu at him. He then cancelled the jutsu and saw that the figure was still there and not moving. Danzo thought, "It's just a ghost," as the figure stabbed him in the back. He pulled his sword out of Danzo's back and took a step back, only to see that Danzo was fine and had just closed one of his Sharingans. "Izanagi," the figure said, which surprised Danzo. "A forbidden jutsu even among Uchiha. How disgusting," the figure said as he started to make after images of himself. Danzo couldn't keep track of his opponent. His right arm was hit, and when he looked down, he saw that 2 of his Sharingans had been destroyed. 3 down, a figure behind Danzo said. 6 more to go, the figure said, and then he made the hand gestures for fire style, furball jutsu. He then blew a stream of fire at Danzo through the hole in his mask that was supposed to be his mouth. Danzo then made a wall of mud to protect himself from the fire. Danzo then felt his feet being grabbed and was pulled down into the ground until he was up to his waist. The figure then came over the wall toward Danzo, who was trapped. He cut Danzo with his sword, destroying another of his Sharingans, and then cut off his head before jumping away. When the figure turned around, it saw an angry Danzo. 5 down, the figure said. 4 more to go, he said just before a sharp wooden figure hit him from below. He was thrown back and got a terrible cut on his stomach. He was in a lot of pain and groaned as Danzo came up to him. Danzo called him a foolish boy and said, "You should," but before he could finish, he was attacked from both his left and right. The figure on his left stabbed him, and the figure on his right was an after image. The figure holding his stomach kicked him away, showing that it was healing at an alarming rate. "If you're going to kill someone," the figure said, "don't stand over him and gloat." He said this as he hunched over in pain. "If it weren't for my condition, I would definitely be dead right now." Danzo, who was now looking nervous, was wondering what was going on. Danzo thought, "Who is he? He made me use Izanagi 3 times and destroyed 3 of my Sharingans." He then got into a fighting stance and got ready for another attack. "I'd better capture or kill him after all he's seen. He can't be free," he said. Danzo started making more and more things out of wood, which his masked ambusher would avoid. Danzo started to feel tired because the wood style took a lot out of his chakra. When the figure saw Danzo start to lose his balance, he took a chance and charged at him with his sword. He was rewarded when Danzo screamed as his prosthetic right arm was cut off where it joined his real arm. While Danzo was on the ground screaming, the figure put his foot on Danzo's chest and sealed the severed arm in a scroll. "You are only the beginning," the figure said as he raised his sword to stab down. Danzo raised his left arm in a useless gesture. He only said wait as the sword was driven through his head and stuck in the ground. The ambusher then waited to see if Danzo was really dead by staying alert and looking around. Once he was sure it was over, he left 3 dead bodies for the scavengers. Uchiha's compound's edges. Fugaku just got out of another clan meeting about the coup that will happen in a month. As he was walking alone, he came across a small house on the edge of the Uchiha compound that seemed out of the way. As he walked in, he saw that the fire was already going and sat down in the chair next to it. He told the shadows, report, and a figure in a mask came out and bowed in front of him. Danzo and his 2 bodyguards are dead, the figure said. I also found proof that Itachi and Shisui are spying on the clan, just as you thought. They plan to help Konoha in order to stop the coup, he said as Fugaku sighed. I was hoping that wasn't true. Fugaku said that he wished Itachi and Shisui were loyal to the clan instead of a village that seemed to shun them. We will deal with them soon enough, he said. Did you find the lost Sharingan? Fugaku asked, and the person in the mask nodded and gave him the scroll with Danzo's arm and the 3 remaining Sharingans on it. He told the figure, good job. The figure turned around and said, if that's all, Master Fugaku, I'm leaving. But Fugaku put his hand on his shoulder to stop him. Naruto, he said in a voice of compassion that only his wife had ever heard. Take off your mask, he said as Naruto did. Naruto's face was no longer that of a child. It was cold and blank, and he hadn't smiled in years. The past few years have been a blur of intense training, missions that don't follow the rules, and killing people who are a threat to the Uchiha clan. His long, blonde hair was pulled back into a ponytail, and he was now wearing a black bodysuit, a chest plate, and a blank Anbu mask. Fugaku said, Naruto, you have been loyal to me ever since I started training you all those years ago. You never disobeyed me or asked why I told you to do something. You are everything I wanted Itachi to be and everything Sasuke could be, he said this while Naruto kept giving him his usual blank look. I hope that once this is all over and we restore the Uchiha clan to its rightful glory, you will join the Uchiha clan and become my son. My true son, Fugaku said. Over time, Fugaku started to see Naruto less as a tool or an apprentice and more as a surrogate son. Itachi had grown distant from him and the clan, and Sasuke wasn't living up to his expectations. Naruto, on the other hand, was his pride and joy. He trained the boy from nothing to almost the level of an Anbu, and while most people didn't know about him, the clan would welcome him with open arms once the coup was successful. Naruto struggled to keep his tears from falling. He saw Fugaku first as a teacher, then as an example to follow, and finally as a father figure. He never told Fugaku how he felt because he thought the man wouldn't care, but when he heard his master say those words, he was on the verge of tears. But he got himself together and spoke in his usual flat tone. We still have a long way to go, Master, Naruto said as he put on his mask. But once this is over, I would be proud to call you father. Very well, Fugaku said. Come to the secret chamber tomorrow morning, and I'll have Tetsuo put one of those Sharingans into your right eye to give you a bigger advantage. I'll also give you some things to help you figure out how to use it. As Naruto bowed, he said. Naruto said, yes, master, as he disappeared in a cloud of leaves. As Fugaku put out the fire in the fireplace and left the house, he closed his eyes and thought, be safe, my son. He put on his mask of indifference and walked back to the center of the compound. Fugaku was sitting with the Uchiha clan council as they talked about plans for their coup. His eldest son Itachi, who had just returned from his Anbu duties, was sitting to his right. He knew that his son was a plan set up by the third Hokage and Danzo, who had just died. It has been 2 weeks, and Danzo's route has been quietly broken up. Most of the members had killed themselves because they felt like they had let down their master. A few had left and gone rogue. Fugaku, a Uchiha elder, spoke up, which got his attention. The coup is supposed to happen in 2 weeks, and you still haven't told us how you plan to take power away from the Hokage or stop the other shinobi from stopping us, he said, and the rest of the council agreed. Trust me, Fugaku said calmly. You will know it when you see it, and trust me, it will get everyone's attention. This made the council confused and worried. Fugaku wanted to use Naruto and his burden, but he couldn't tell them because there was a mole, and only a few people knew who Naruto was. The only people who knew about Naruto were Fugaku, Mikoto, and Tetsuo, the family doctor. Mikoto was happy to keep quiet about the boy. Mikoto tried for years to adopt Naruto, but the shinobi and civilian councils stopped her because they didn't want to give the Uchiha clan a powerful asset. This made Mikoto even less trusting of the village, since Naruto was the child of her friend Kushina, who had died. Fugaku continued, we also have to worry about the Shinobi Council, especially the Hyuga, Inuzuka, Nara, Akimichi, and Yamanaka clans, because they will fight tooth and nail to stop us from getting power. The council nodded. A council member asked Fugaku, well, what do you have in mind? Fugaku said, I don't know. During the coup, we will kill the clan leaders and leave them without power. The Hyuga will be the hardest because the Hyuga Council will still be a problem even with Hayashi dead. So, we will also get rid of them. The council was shocked by what he said, so another member spoke up. He asked, what about the Aburame clan? Fugaku replied once more. For years, the Aburame clan has been treated badly because they use insects. Once we are in charge, we will bring them closer to us and make a deal with them. Shibai Aburame is a rationalist, so he'll know what's going on. He said this, and the council agreed with some doubt because they didn't trust other clans. Fugaku said, that's enough for today. I'm going to end this meeting now, and everyone got up and left. Itachi and Fugaku were getting ready to leave when Fugaku turned to Itachi and said, Itachi, why are you watching the Hokage? Does he have doubts about our group? Itachi shook his head when he asked. No, he has no reason to be suspicious at all. Itachi told a complete lie, and Fugaku agreed with him. As Itachi bowed and said goodbye, Fugaku said, good, keep your eyes and ears open. Fugaku thought to himself, Itachi, you had so much potential, but you wasted it on a village instead of your own clan. He said this as he walked away to do his other jobs. With Mikoto, Mikoto was going into the house of her friend Kushina, who had died. She and her husband had only lived there for a short time before they both died. From the outside, it looks like an abandoned building, but once you get past the gate, the Genjutsu fades away, and you can see a fairly well-kept house. This is because Minato put seals on the house. Mikoto grew to hate Minato because he sealed that demon inside Naruto, and made Naruto's childhood a living hell because he was protecting the villagers. Mikoto knocked on the door, and when it opened, Naruto was there with a small smile on his face, which was unusual for him because his face is usually blank and cold. Naruto said, Lady Uchiha, in a formal way. To what do I owe the pleasure? He asked. Mikoto laughed. She told Naruto, you've known me for 4 years, so you can call me Mikoto. Naruto laughed. Very well, Mikoto, Naruto said as he opened the door and let her in. So, is this a business visit or not? He asked. Mikoto pulled out a scroll and opened 4 bowls of ramen, which answered Naruto's question. Sai and Shin, you can come out. It's just lad Mikoto, Naruto told them as they came out of the shadows. Shin was smiling, and Sai had his usual fake smile, which seemed to get more real as time went on. Shin said, welcome, Ms. Mikoto. Greetings, Lady Uchiha, said Sai, who was still getting used to having guests who weren't ninja. The day after Danzo died, Sai and Shin both left Route because there was no one left to give them orders. They both tried to find and kill the person who killed their master until they found Naruto. Instead of using his strength, Naruto used his words to calm both boys down. After talking to them, he was able to convince them to come home with him, where Mikoto was waiting with a home-cooked meal and attention for both boys. These little things that they couldn't get because they were part of Route won them over, and they've been working with Naruto for the past 2 weeks. Naruto told Fugaku, who was surprised that Naruto was actually using diplomacy. When Fugaku met the boys, he told them that if they helped Naruto with his plans, he would give them a home, money, and a chance to live a normal life. They took the deal because it was too good to refuse. Okay, boys, Mikoto said as she sat down at the table with the 3 boys. Let's eat, she said as the 4 of them started to eat the bowls of noodles. After 2 hours, Sai and Shin left their house in Henges to walk around the village, which they had never done before. As usual, Shin will drag Sai to a manga store, and Sai will then take Shin to an art supply store so he can look at all the art supplies. This meant that Mikoto and Naruto were left alone, which was great for Mikoto because she loved spending time with her secret son. Mikoto was stroking Naruto's hair as he laid his head on her lap. Naruto loved the small signs of affection because he hadn't felt loved in a physical way in a long time. Naruto loved getting hugs, kisses on the forehead, and the occasional day out with her as Fugaku or Sasuke. Naruto, Mikoto said softly, and Naruto could hear the worry in her voice. Naruto stood up and looked at Mikoto. He said, yes, Mikoto. Why are you so loyal to Fugaku? A master is important, but you go too far with your loyalty. You've said many times that you would die for him and his goals, and I'm not sure why Naruto stopped moving when she asked. Mikoto usually talks about herself or asks how Naruto is doing, so Naruto didn't think she would bring up such a subject. Naruto said as he looked up at the ceiling, he saved my life. He saw value in me. He doesn't see me as a monster or a weapon. He helped me hide from Konoha for all these years. Naruto said as he looked Mikoto in the eyes. He's more than a master to me, he's a father figure to me. Even after the coup, he wants me to join the clan. He said this as Mikoto gasped because Fugaku had never told her about this. I will help him bring the Uchiha to its rightful glory, and if I die in the process, so be it. It's the least I can do for all he's done for me, he told Mikoto, who was stunned. When all this is over, I can call him father and you mother, he said as Mikoto held him tight and tears ran down her cheeks. I would love that, Naruto, she said as she kissed his forehead. Please don't die, I just got you, and I don't want to lose you anytime soon, she said as she and Naruto held each other for what seemed like an eternity. Shin and Sai were already asleep when night came, so Naruto got ready for bed. As he got close to his bed, he picked up a kunai and threw it at a picture of Minato, the fourth Hokage, and his father. Bastard, Naruto thought as he got into bed. You will never be my father, you're just some guy who got my birth mother pregnant. Master Fugaku was more of a father to me than you, he thought as he fell asleep. Hiruzen and Jiraiya were there. Hiruzen said, you still haven't thought of anything. Jiraiya sighed and nodded. Jiraiya said, I looked in Iwa, Suna, Kumo, Taki, Kyusa, and even Wave Country, but I haven't found a trace of him. The past few years have been hard on the 2-year-old shinobi. When Naruto went missing, the village was in chaos. The villagers were happy that the demon was finally gone, but the shinobi were terrified because they had lost their most powerful weapon. Hiruzen remembered how crazy the council meeting was about the matter. Fugaku was angry that the Uchiha police force wasn't told about the search until it was almost over. He said that if the Uchiha had known about the search sooner, they might have been able to find Naruto. Hiruzen groaned and rubbed his nose. We have to keep looking for Jiraiya. Hiruzen started until 2 Anbu landed in front of him and Jiraiya. Itachi and Shisui said Lord Hokage at the same time, and Hiruzen acknowledged them. Itachi spoke up, and Hiruzen said, speak. Itachi said, Lord Hokage, my father will still be dealing with the coup in 2 weeks, and Jiraiya and Hiruzen nodded in agreement. This was their second biggest problem. Itachi told Hiruzen he plans to do something to distract the village while he and a few other strong Uchiha plan to attack you head-on. Hiruzen rubbed his temples in response. He asked, what do you three think our next step should be? Shisui spoke up. If I can get the Uchiha Council in one place, I can use my kata Matsukami to make them forget about the coup, he said as all 3 of them looked at him. There won't be any deaths, there won't be a coup, and we can save the village from a possible civil war, he added as they all nodded. Hiruzen looked at Shisui and said, very well. At the next council meeting, you use your genjutsu, and we deal with this problem. Then we go back to finding Naruto. All 3 of them nodded. Itachi told Shisui, who nodded and smiled. The next meeting is tomorrow to talk about clan finances. It will be late at night, so you won't run into any trouble. Great. Now I have to go get ready. I hope you have a good time on your date with Izumi, he said this as Itachi gave his friends a facepalm and Hiruzen sweated. Jiraiya, he started, but Jiraiya was already gone. He looked over and saw Jiraiya bothering an angry-looking Itachi. Jiraiya said, come on, kid, as Itachi's eye twitched. Tell me the details. If you let me use you 2 in my book, I'll give you a fat commission, he said. Itachi let in a group of crows without saying a word, which made Jiraiya laugh and Hiruzen angry. Get your mind out of the gutter. Hiruzen yelled at his student, Jiraiya, let's go find Naruto. Jiraiya went back to work right away, and the 2 of them started looking for Naruto. The next day, it was night. Shisui was running through the woods outside the Uchiha compound as he was about to put his plan into action. In a few minutes, the coup will be over, and he and Itachi will be able to help Jiraiya look for Naruto. As he ran, a rain of shuriken and kunai hit him, which scared him. As he tried to avoid them and landed on a tree, he was attacked by an ink tiger. Shisui quickly pulled out his sword and destroyed the creation. As his sword cut into the ink tiger, he felt a force push him back and saw a figure come out of the creation and lock blades with him, pushing him back. He looked and saw that the attacker had gray hair and didn't look to be more than 9 years old, but he couldn't be sure because he was wearing a blank Anbu mask. Shisui kicked his attacker away, and just as he did, he heard 2 more hits just behind him. Shisui asked, who are you? As a figure stepped forward with a mask covering his face. The only thing that stood out about him was his slicked back blonde hair. It doesn't matter who we are, the figure said as he drew his sword and stood ready. What matters is that we stop you right now, he said as the 3rd boy stepped forward, his mask also blank but showing short black hair. Sai said Shin Nagasumi to hide Naruto's real name. He then said, get ready, this is going to be a hard battle, as he held his scroll and brush ready to make more ink summons. Shin said, copy that, Sai, with a smile hidden behind his mask. He was excited to fight someone so strong. Naruto said, "Oh well," as he took off a piece of his mask to reveal his right eye. "I guess I should use this," he said as he took off a contact lens from his eye. Shisui was shocked when the boy opened his eye and showed him a Sharingan. It was red and had 3 Tomo, but the pupil wasn't round like most Sharingans. Instead, it had a vertical slit in the middle. Shisui was angry and asked Naruto, "How the hell did you get a Sharingan?" Naruto laughed it off. "What does it matter to a dead man?" Naruto asked as he and his 2 teammates got ready to face Shisui the teleporter, who might have been the hardest opponent they had ever faced. Shisui turned on his fully grown Sharingan and got into a fighting stance. "I can't fail here," he thought as he looked at his 3 opponents. "If I fail, the village will fall," he thought as he prepared for the attack he was about to face. Shisui was fighting 3 attackers at once. Sai was attacking from a long distance, Shin was attacking from close range, and Nagasumi was using a wide range of mid-range jutsu to keep Shisui off balance. Only because he's using his famous body flicker technique is he still alive. The after images were keeping his attackers from hitting him directly, but that wouldn't last. Naruto quickly made hand signs and spit what looked like water out of his mouth. The water hit the ground and missed Shisui in all of his after images. Shisui was scared because the water wasn't water, it was more like a gel. Then he saw Naruto make some hand signs and throw a small fireball at the water. In the next second, the whole area was engulfed in a big fire. As Naruto looked at what he had done, he thought, "Combination Jutsu, Napalm Firestorm." His teacher, Fugaku, told him to make up his own moves so the enemy wouldn't be able to figure out what he was going to do next. He got the idea from the toad oil techniques and used his second main affinity, water, to make a flammable liquid. His fire jutsu isn't that strong, but when mixed with his napalm or wind chakra, it can even itself out. Shisui then came out of the flames with his left leg badly burned. Shisui thought, "Damn, I didn't expect that. If I hadn't stepped in at the last second, that could have gone badly," as he blocked Shin's sword attack. Shin smiled as Shisui grunted in effort. "Wow, this is fun," he said. "If we weren't enemies, we could have been great sparring partners," he said as he kept attacking until Shisui kicked him away. Before he could stop and think, a Sai Kid Zinc golem attacked him. Sai told Shin, "You shouldn't talk too much, brother," as he made 2 more golems that fought Shisui. Shisui cursed because this fight was hard. As he blocked another blow, he thought, "These aren't any ordinary kids." He thought, "They're at least high chunin to low jounin." Then he felt a burning pain in his back. Shisui was doing something else, so Naruto slashed him in the back. This was a mistake, as Shisui grabbed Naruto's wrist, pulled him forward, and hit him in the face with his sword. Shisui then lunged at Naruto, who took a light blow to the stomach before running away. Shisui then looked at his attacker with wide eyes when he saw that his strike had broken the mask and revealed blonde hair, 1 blue eye, and 6 whisker marks. "Naruto Uzumaki," Shisui said in surprise as Naruto scowled. "I gave up that last name a long time ago," he said as his wound healed and he stood up straight. "I'm just Naruto now," he added, making Shisui shy away from the young man's eyes. "No, you're still Naruto Uzumaki. The hackage has been looking for you. Where have you been? Why are you attacking me? Why do you have a Sharingan?" Shisui asked. Naruto tilted his head. He got back into a fighting stance and said, "Why would I answer that? You know who I am, so now you must die," he said as he charged forward. With Sasuke, Sasuke was practicing his fireball jutsu when he saw a bright light coming from the forest. As he walked toward the light, he heard the sound of metal hitting metal. He hid behind a tree and watched Shisui, his brother's best friend, fight 3 boys, a blonde, a boy with black hair wearing a mask, and a boy with silver hair wearing a mask. As he turned his attention back to the fight, he saw that one of the attackers was about to hit Shisui from behind. Instinctively, he ran as fast as he could and kicked the boy, which surprised the other 4 fighters because they couldn't feel his chakra. Shisui was surprised and asked, "Sasuke, what are you doing here?" Sasuke said, "I was training." "What are you doing here?" he asked Shisui, who grunted and looked Sasuke in the eyes. Shisui quickly told Sasuke about the coup, his father, and how he and Itachi tried to stop it. Sasuke looked at him with wide eyes. Shisui yelled, "Sasuke!" in a panic. "Run to the Hokage. Tell him," he said as he grabbed Sasuke and threw him far away. Sasuke got up and ran as fast as he could to tell the Hokage what had happened. Naruto thought, "Shit." He yelled, "Shin, stop him. Don't let him get to the village." Shin nodded and ran after Sasuke. Shisui tried to stop him, but Naruto stopped him. "Your fight is with me and Sai," he told them as they started fighting again. Using Shin, Shin was trying to catch up to Sasuke, who was running faster than Shin thought he would. When Shin saw Sasuke, he thought, I guess being scared really does make you run faster. Shin then showed up before Sasuke. Shin said in a nice way, please give up. I was told to catch you, not kill you, so would you please? Shin asked Sasuke. Then, as Sasuke ran away again, he dodged another round of kunai. Sasuke yelled as he disappeared again. If it's the last thing I do, I will warn the Hokage and Itachi. Shin said, damn, and then he jumped off again to catch his target. Alongside Naruto and Sai, Shisui was getting tired and huffing. He had been using his body flicker technique too much and his Sharingan for 15 minutes straight, so his chakra was running low. He then avoided Sai's ink tiger as he slashed it. But Naruto came out of the tiger and cut Shisui across the chest, cutting through his armor and making a wound that, while not fatal, hurt like a motherfucker. Shisui jumped away, did some hand signs, and let out a huge fireball that Naruto and Sai were able to avoid. When Naruto decided that this fight had gone on long enough, he used hand signs, mixed his chakra with the fox's chakra, and got ready to attack. Combination style, Fire Fox Incineration, he said as he blew a big ball of fire at Shisui. In a panic, Shisui called on his imperfect Susanoo to protect him when the attack came. But his defenses started to break down about halfway through the jutsu. As the protective barrier broke, the end of the fire jutsu hit Shisui. It burned him badly and slowed him down as he fell to the ground. Naruto, who was heavily breathing, grabbed his sword and walked over to Shisui. He stood over the badly burned Uchiha and said, you know something, Shisui, as Shisui listened in pain. You were always my idol, he said. Shisui's head fell to the ground, and Naruto cut off his head. Naruto fell to his knees because he was so tired. Naruto thought, holy ass, Shisui was every bit the genius they said he was. He grabbed Shisui's severed head and put it on his own body. He then put Shisui's body in a scroll and took a soldier pill to get some of his chakra back. Sai said, let's go find Shin, and Naruto laughed. Naruto put on his new mask and said, great minds think alike. He then ran in the same direction as Shin and Sasuke. Using Shin was chasing Sasuke, who was desperately trying to get away. Nothing Sasuke did worked, whether he ran, hid, or fought, because Shin would follow him like a bloodhound. Sasuke kept thinking, there has to be something I can do, until he had an idea. He ran into the trees to hide from Shin for a split second, but Shin saw him stop and started to talk. You're finally giving up, he said, but then Sasuke did something Shin didn't expect. Fire style, Fireball Jutsu, Sasuke said as he hit Shin with a powerful fireball. Shin fell to the ground with third-degree burns all over the front of his body. Sasuke then got a good look at the boy as he coughed and moaned in pain. When he saw how badly the boy was burned, Sasuke threw up and started crying. I'm sorry so much, Sasuke said through tears as he turned and started walking toward the village. Sasuke had only taken 3 steps when a 2 kunai hit him in the back, piercing his lungs. He fell to the ground, choked on his own blood, and died. Shin thought of one of Root's lessons, don't ever turn your back on the enemy, as the world started to go fuzzy. Shin heard a voice say, what happened, holy shit, but he could no longer hear or see properly. Dashi W. Shin tried with everything he had left to hear what Naruto and Sai were saying next to him. Shin heard Sai's voice say, oh god, no, over and over in his head. God damn it, Shin, Naruto's voice said. Shin then let out a breath as he realized something. He was going to die, but at least he was with his brothers. With Fugaku and Mikoto, the head of the Uchiha clan and the matriarch were both drinking tea when they heard a thunk at the door. When they opened it, they saw a kunai with the kanji for fox on it. Fugaku told Naruto that he should only use this in an emergency. He then turned to Mikoto and said, get the medical kit. Naruto, Sai, or Shin could be badly hurt. Mikoto ran to a closet and got a scroll that had all kinds of medical and first aid supplies on it. Both of them ran out of the house at top speed in the middle of the night to Naruto's house, which was where they were supposed to meet. They ran for 5 minutes to get to the house, where they took off the seal, went in, and put it back on. They ran to Fugaku's door, which was locked, kicked it down, and looked around. Then he saw Naruto sitting alone and looking up into the sky. Naruto, Fugaku yelled, but Naruto didn't answer. Naruto. He yelled again as Naruto slowly turned to his master. What happened? He asked as he and Mikoto started to worry. Naruto got up quietly and led them to a storage room. When Mikoto and Fugaku got there, they felt like their hearts and souls had been ripped out. Sai was holding the burned hand of his dead brother Shin. Next to him was the headless body of Shisui, whose head was resting on his stomach. And lastly, there was the pale body of their son Sasuke. Mikoto ran over to her son and started crying as she held his body in her arms. Fugaku looked at Naruto with sad and confused eyes and tears in his eyes. What happened? He choked out. I knew Shisui was going to try to stop the coup because of a bug I put in the Hokage's office. When Sai, Shin, and I fought Shisui, we were almost on top until Sasuke appeared out of nowhere. Shisui used his Sharingan to tell Sasuke what was going on and told him to go tell the Hokage. Shin chased after Sasuke to catch him, but Sasuke hit Shin with a fireball. Fugaku was heartbroken because his second son chose the village over his clan, and his surrogate son lost the closest thing he had to a brother. Fugaku then heard a button snap and turned to see Naruto pull out his kunai and hold it to his throat. Naruto said with tears in his eyes, I failed you, master. Give me the order and I'll kill myself to make up for it. Then, Mikoto slapped Naruto's hands, making him drop the knife. She then hugged him as she cried. Don't do that again. Mikoto yelled. I lost Itachi and Sasuke to this damn village. I don't want to lose my last son, she said as she held Naruto closer. Naruto then started to cry into Mikoto's breasts as she tried to calm him down by holding his head and stroking his hair. But it didn't work. Fugaku then walked over to Sai and put his hand on his shoulder. Let's give him a proper burial, he said, and Sai nodded silently. Fugaku picked up Shin's body and carried it to the yard. He used a simple earth jutsu to make a grave for Shin and a headstone out of earth. He then took out a kunai and gave it to Sai, saying, I'll let you write the inscription. Sai nodded again. As he walked back into the house, Fugaku thought, I've got to fix this. Hours later, Fugaku set up a scene with the help of shadow clones to buy himself some time and get out of trouble. He put Sasuke's body in a place that was easy to find but not too easy. When an Anbu found the body, Fugaku played the role of an angry and upset father to Itachi. Mikoto, on the other hand, was still in shock, so her reaction was not at all staged. Fugaku asked everyone in the Uchiha clan to come in so he could count them. Shisui was the only one who didn't show up because he didn't come home last night. Fugaku then told a great story about how Shisui must have killed Sasuke because he wasn't there when Sasuke was killed. After the roll call, Fugaku pulled Itachi aside and spoke in an angry, demanding voice. Fugaku said, You're Shisui's best friend. Where could he have gone? Who could he be working for? Itachi told him the truth. Itachi said, I don't know, which made his father angry. Fugaku asked Itachi in a desperate tone, Has he been acting strangely? Gone on a really bad mission? Thoughts of killing himself or others? Itachi shook his head. No, father, he said, and Fugaku took a deep breath. The coup is off, he said, and Itachi looked at him in surprise. I want you and our best detectives to investigate Sasuke's murder. I want you to find the Shisui and bring him before me and your mother in handcuffs. You have 2 weeks or there will be consequences, Fugaku said, turning on his Manjikayo Sharingan to make his point. Itachi bowed and gave a nervous nod before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Itachi thought, I've got to tell Lord Hokage. The coup may be over, but now there's a bigger problem. If someone could kill Shisui, that's a bigger problem. He thought as an image of a smiling Sasuke flashed through his mind. Little brother, I know Shisui didn't kill you, but I swear I'll find out who did and avenge you, he thought as he. With Fugaku was standing in front of Naruto and Sai, who were still looking very serious. Boys, Fugaku said as Naruto and Sai looked at him. We don't have much time, so let me get to the point, he said as Naruto and Sai looked confused. Sasuke's death, while tragic, has given the clan some breathing room, but there is now an opportunity. The Hokage will think the coup is off because of the tragedy, so that's our chance. Naruto asked, What do you mean, master? Fugaku let out a breath. At Sasuke's funeral, we'll trap the clan leaders, council members, and Hokage in one place and kill them all at once. He told the 2 boys, which surprised them. Sai asked, How long until the funeral? 3 days, he said. 3 days until the coup starts, 3 days until the Uchiha rise from the ashes, and 3 days until Naruto gets his revenge on the village that shunned and hated him. Sai and Naruto looked at each other and nodded. Any objections? He asked. No, master, they said at the same time. One day before the coup, outside the Hyuga compound, Naruto was currently studying his target, Hiashi Hyuga, by watching the Hyuga compound. Naruto had never liked Hiashi Hyuga because he was a liar of the highest order. He had said many times that the Uchiha were a clan of barbarians, which was funny coming from a man whose clan enslaved their own family. Naruto was done studying the compound and was about to leave when he heard crying coming from the woods behind him. He went quietly to the source of the crying and found 2 girls crying. One looked to be about Naruto's age, and the other didn't look to be much older than 3 or 4. As he listened carefully, he heard what they were saying. Big sister, the younger girl said. I'm scared. What if the monster that hurt that boy comes for me? She asked as tears fell from her eyes. The older girls tried to calm Hanabi down by telling her, "Don't worry, Hanabi. The monster won't come for you." Hanabi was still scared, so she asked, "But what if it does?" "Then your sister will protect you," said a voice that scared them both. When they looked, they saw a boy wearing a blank Anbu mask. When he took it off, both girls blushed at how handsome he was. He had blonde hair in a ponytail, whisker-like marks on his face, and one blue eye and one black eye that didn't match. A big sister's job is to protect her little sister, right? He asked the older sister. "Correct," said the older sister as she tried to avoid the boy's gaze. "But I'm small and weak, so I don't know if I can," she added. Naruto laughed. "You can if you work hard and believe in yourself," he said as he looked up at the sky. "I was weak too, but I found something to fight for, and that made me strong." He looked at the two girls and asked, "What are your names?" Hanabi. Hanabi said shyly. Hinata, said the older sister. Naruto then pulled a piece of paper with a small seal out of his pocket. "This is an emergency seal," he said as he knelt in front of Hanabi. "If you ever get into trouble, just put a little chakra in it, and I'll come to you." He then decided to imitate Mikoto and kiss the young girl on the forehead. "A hero will always save a princess," he said, even though Hanabi giggled at being called a princess. Before Naruto could leave, Hinata called out, "Wait." As Naruto turned around, she asked, "Who are you?" Naruto looked thoughtful as he put on his mask. Hinata blushed at the title Anbu lady. "Oh, and please don't say you saw me. My master would be upset if he found out I talked to girls instead of doing my job," he said. Both girls nodded and swore to keep quiet. As he disappeared in a cloud of leaves, the girls looked at each other and then at the paper he had given. "A hero," said Hinata, while Hanabi blushed and laughed. Hinata looked at her confused, and she said, "He seems more like a prince. Princes save princesses, heroes save villages," she said, thinking about the handsome blonde boy. Hinata and Hanabi both decided to go back to the compound, but they had no idea that this small meeting would save them. The next day, compound Uchiha. Fugaku was sitting in the hall of the Uchiha funeral hall, watching people come in. As he looked up at the dark sky, he sighed. "Sasuke, I wish you hadn't gone against the clan," he thought, thinking about his late son. "Maybe I should have been a better father," he thought, until someone stood over him. Hiruzen looked at the Uchiha patriarch with sad eyes. He, too, knew how it felt to lose a son, so he held out his hand and said, "Fugaku, my condolences." Fugaku took it and said, "I'm sorry." As Hiruzen talked, he said, "Thank you, Lord Hokage." He asked, "Where is Mikoto?" Fugaku sighed again. "Sasuke's death has been especially hard on Mikoto," he said as he looked at the floor. "Since she found out, she's been in shock. She's in bed, and Izumi is watching over her for her own safety," he said as Hiruzen nodded. "Once again, I'm sorry for your loss," he said as he left. After Hiruzen left, Fugaku was approached by the clan heads, who all began to offer their condolences. In particular, Sum and Yuzuka felt responsible because her clan members were responsible for patrolling the village. Fugaku then noticed that Hayashi Hyuga was the only one not with the group. Instead, he was sitting alone and not saying a word. Fugaku tightened his grip on his fists at that. He wasn't the best father, but he would never hurt any of his sons. Hayashi, he thought in a dark way. "I may not enjoy killing the others, but I will find some joy in making sure your daughters are safe." Naruto had told him how he had confronted Hayashi's children. Fugaku had no reason to kill the children of the clan heads, and he didn't want. With Kakashi was in his spot watching the funeral hall. He remembered that his friend Abido's funeral was held there even though there was no body. Kakashi was one of 4 Anbu standing outside to protect the Hokage. With many skilled ninjas and the clan heads, the Hokage was safe from any outside threat. But they were there just in case. He reached up and pressed the button on his communication device. "Cat report," he said, but he didn't hear back. "Cat report," he said again, but still didn't hear back. "Damn communicators," he thought. "Why did Cell 3 get the new ones and we get the old ones?" "Monkey, check in on Cat. Her communicator is broken again," he said, but he didn't hear back either. Kakashi became worried and went on high alert. "Cat, Monkey, or Crane, do you copy?" he asked, but no one answered. "Yugao, Hayate, Yujiro, do you copy?" he continued, but a blade pierced through his chest and he fell to the ground, coughing up blood. He looked up and saw a figure standing over him. The figure took off his blank mask, revealing blonde hair and whisper marks. "Naruto," Kakashi coughed as he looked at the long-lost son of his late sensei. Why? He asked, only to have his head cut off. Naruto then reached down and pulled out his Sharingan, putting it in a vial for later use. He then pressed a button on his communicator and spoke. Sai, Izumi, Mikoto report he spoke. Using Sai. Sai was drawing a picture of the Anbu with a cat mask that he had just killed. And Izumi just finished praying for the monkey-masked Anbu, whose name means target dead. With Mikoto wiped the blade of her old katana. After letting it collect dust for almost 15 years, she finally picked it up again and said, "My target is dead." Having Naruto, "My target is down," Naruto said to confirm. Go to the rally, he started, but was knocked down. When he looked up, he saw two figures, one in a mask and the other looking like it was half human and half plant. The man in the mask said, "I finally found you, boy. Now I can finish what I started." He did this as he slapped a piece of paper on Naruto's forehead. With Fugaku, "I can only hope that Sasuke can find peace in the afterlife as this world is too." Fugaku stopped reading his eulogy when the earth shook and everyone who was there 8 years ago heard a familiar roar. As everyone left the building, they saw a sight that shook them to their core. The nine-tailed fox was back. Fugaku and his Uchiha clansmen escaped the explosion just in time. Even though they were hit by the shock wave, no one was seriously hurt. He then saw that Hiruzen and the clan heads had also escaped, but the civilians and anyone else who couldn't shine were not so lucky. Fugaku looked at Hiruzen as the old man talked. When Hiruzen said, "Fugaku, you know what to do," Fugaku nodded. He yelled, "Uchiha clan attack." As the Uchiha clan roared, Hiruzen looked back at the village as he got ready to fight the fox for the second time in his life. He then dodged a kunai that nearly killed him, and Fugaku started throwing punches and kicks at the old Hokage. The clan leaders were completely caught off guard. Shikaku Nara was the first to go because he was the biggest threat. Choza Akamichi was next because he was the strongest. Suman Yuzuka, Hayashi Hyuga, and Inoichi Yamanaka went on the defensive, while Shibai Aburame stood still. As he turned to her, Suman Yuzuka told Shibai, "Get the lead out of your behind and fight." "I'm sorry, Sum," he said as his bug started to come out. "I made a deal to help my clan. For too long, we've been treated badly because of what we know. It makes sense for two oppressed groups to work together to fight back," he said as he sent his swarm after her. Hiruzen was now freaking out because he wasn't ready for either the fox or Fugaku. As he moved away, he took off his robes to show his battle armor, and just as he did, Fugaku and Shibai stood in front of the old Hokage. A Hokage-level Uchiha and an S-class Aburame versus an old man playing Hokage, Fugaku said as he turned on his Sharingan. "I like our chances," he said as Shibai nodded. "Our chances are good," he said as his bugs came out of his sleeves. "But let's not get too confident. He's the Hokage for a reason," he added as Fugaku nodded. Having Naruto was in the forest outside the Uchiha compound, feeling like crap. That masked jerk did something to make the fox run away. If it weren't for his Uzumaki genes, he would have died from the extraction. He reached up and touched his useless right eye. Naruto thought, "Damn it," when all he could see was darkness. "I may have saved myself from dying by using Izanagi, but I still feel like I'm on the edge of death," he thought when he heard 4 separate landings. Mikoto stopped next to Naruto and yelled, "Naruto." He asked, "Who's with you?" Sai told him, "Me, Izumi, and Tetsuo," he said as Naruto pulled Kakashi's Sharingan out of his pocket. As he propped himself up against a tree, he said, "Transplant this, fix me up, and let's fight." He then told Sai and Izumi to go find the masked man and the plant man. With Fugaku and Shibai were still fighting the Hokage, who was being a real pain in the rear. Fugaku got fed up and used his Susanoo on Hiruzen. Hiruzen, remembering what he learned from the first Hokage, used long-range fire jutsu to weaken the defenses. He then felt his chakra draining and realized he had fallen into Fugaku's trap, as Shibai had been slowly draining his chakra. Hiruzen, feeling weak, fought with all his strength until he felt a slash along his back that cut through his armor. He then stopped fighting Fugaku and turned around to see who had attacked him from behind. He saw Mikoto Uchiha in full battle gear, and then a sweating, bruised blonde boy holding a ninjato and a single Sharingan in his right eye. When he saw his long-lost grandson, he said, "And Naruto, what are you doing here? Fugaku, what have you done?" He yelled at the head of the Uchiha clan, who was staring straight ahead. Fugaku said, "I took him under my wing," while Hiruzen's eyes were filled with murderous intent. He said, "Didn't you brainwash him?" Until Naruto spoke up. "No, he didn't," Naruto said as Hiruzen looked at the boy. "He took me in. He trained me to be as strong as Itachi, and he gave me something this village never did, a chance. The 4th Hokage was a fool to trust this village, because it is corrupt and messed up. Naruto yelled. The villagers take out their anger on a child. The Hyuga enslave their own people, and Danzo kidnapped and brainwashed children to be his soldiers. Hiruzen was shocked and looked at Naruto. I'm here of my own free will, Naruto said as he turned on his Mangekyou Sharingan. Hiruzen tried to change the boy's mind by saying, Naruto, you're the fourth Hokage. Your parents wouldn't want you to go this way, but it didn't work. He said, to Hiruzen's dismay, Minato Namikaze is not my father, and Kushina Uzumaki is only my birth parent. My father is Fugaku Uchiha and my mother is Mikoto Uchiha. He got into a Kenjutsu stance and said, family isn't who you are born with. It's who you die for. Hiruzen then looked at Naruto as he ran toward him. When Hiruzen saw Naruto running toward him, time seemed to slow down. Naruto, with his Sharingan glowing and a face full of anger and hatred, had his sword ready to stab the old man in the chest. As Naruto got closer, he thought, Minato, Kushina, I'm sorry I let you and Naruto down. By Wako, my love, I'm coming to you now, he thought as he closed his eyes. Naruto drove his sword into Hiruzen's heart, killing him instantly. He then pulled the sword out and let the old man fall to the ground. Naruto gave him one last look as a single tear fell from his blue eye. He may have hated the old man, but he still loved him in a small part of his heart. He then turned to Fugaku, who spoke. Fugaku asked Naruto what happened. Naruto told him everything, and Fugaku closed his eyes. Naruto, go deal with the fox. Use everything in your arsenal, Fugaku said as Naruto bowed and left. Mikoto, he said to get his wife's attention, deal with Itachi. Mikoto nodded and ran away. I'll deal with that masked bastard myself, he said as he left. With Hinata and Hanabi, both sisters were scared and crying as they hid in the Hyuga clan bunker with the rest of the clan while a demon tore apart the village outside. Hinata comforted her sister, who was so scared she couldn't believe it, because she was scared to death. It's okay, Hanabi, I'm here, she said, but her crying sister didn't stop. I'm here, and I'll protect you no matter what, she said, and Hanabi stopped crying. Hinata wondered why Hanabi stopped crying when she saw her reaching around for something. Hanabi then took the piece of paper she got from the boy yesterday and put as much chakra as she could into it. As she waited for her rescuer, she silently prayed, please come. The next thing she knew, the paper was gone and a puff of smoke had appeared in front of her and Hinata. Everyone in the bunker looked up and saw a blonde boy standing there. The blonde boy then grabbed both girls and said, hold on tight. Both girls grabbed his arms, and they disappeared in a puff of smoke. The people in the bunker were confused for a second, but after that second was up, the bunker collapsed as a red paw crashed through the ceiling, killing everyone inside. At the home of Naruto, Naruto let both girls go when they looked around and saw they were in a house. They then saw their blonde rescuer quickly change his damaged armor and suit for a new one. You'll be safe here, he told Hinata and Hanabi as they looked at him. The demon is on the other side of the village. Stay here until I get back, he said as he quickly pulled on a black jacket. Hinata stopped the boy by saying, wait. What's your name? She asked as the boy took a moment to answer. Naruto Uchiha, he said to the two girls with a smile. Wait here, okay. I'll be back, I promise. Hanabi spoke up. She was worried, so she asked, but what if you don't? Naruto laughed. He said, as he disappeared in a swirl of leaves, I don't break promises. In Konoha, Naruto said that the masked man who took the Kyuubi out of him was standing in front of Fugaku. Fugaku, the man in the mask said, and Fugaku just looked at him. He turned on both of his Sharingans and said, you ruined my plans, destroyed part of my clan's compound, and tried to kill my son. I don't care who you are, Fugaku said as he got into a fighting stance. I will kill you for what you've done. The man in the mask turned on his Sharingan and put himself in a fighting stance. Most people thought that fighting the Kyuubi was the most important thing to do, but the fight between Fugaku and the masked man was the one that would decide the future. Fugaku threw several kunai at the masked man. He then saw the kunai go right through the man and hit a wall behind him. The masked man then ran toward Fugaku and tried to grab him. Fugaku quickly moved away, got more distance, and threw more kunai. As the first few kunai hit the masked man, he felt pain and looked down to see a shuriken in his abdomen. I see, said Fugaku. Your phasing jutsu can't be used for that long, so you have to turn it off when the attack stops. That's good to know, now I just need to keep attacking, he said as he made hand signs and shot a fireball at the masked man. As the fireball hit, the stream went on for more than 15 seconds. Damn it, the masked figure thought as he ran forward after the jutsu faded. I've got to end this quickly. I can only use Kamui for up to 5 minutes, and he's already used 45 seconds, he thought as he tried to attack Fugaku from a safe distance. Alongside Itachi, Itachi ran over to stop the nine-tailed fox from destroying the village. How could this happen? he thought. The Nine Tails are supposed to be sealed inside Naruto, but nobody has seen him in years. Itachi wondered, did he finally come back for revenge? Itachi then jumped to the side to avoid a sword strike and got kicked in the chest. When he got back up, he was shocked to see that his opponent was Mikoto. Mother, he said, looking at Mikoto. Itachi, Mikoto said as she got into her fighting position, you are such a disappointment. A son willing to betray his own family to protect a village that has outcasted them. Itachi stopped and answered. Itachi took out his sword and said, a coup was never the answer to the Uchiha's problems. I was doing the right thing and getting rid of a threat to the village, he said, which made Mikoto laugh. Danzo has been secretly killing Uchiha and taking their Sharingan for years, and he's given Orochimaru money and people to experiment on. The council stopped the Uchiha from helping the village during the last nine-tailed fox attack, which made the clan hated and outcast. The village doesn't care about the Uchiha, so why should we? The first Hokage and our ancestor Madara were fools to think Konoha could change the world when it only. Before Mikoto spoke, Itachi asked, so, your plan is to kill me, right? Itachi was shocked when she told him, you are not my son. You plan to kill an entire clan because of the actions of a few. I know that you and Shisui were plotting with the Hokage and Danzo to stop the Uchiha at any cost, she said, pointing her sword at him. Naruto is more like a son to me than you are, and once this is over, I will love and care for him the way Kushina would have wanted, she said, getting back into her position. Itachi froze when he heard the name Naruto, the keeper of the Nine Tails. As he turned back to his mother, he realized he's been here the whole time. Very well, Itachi said as he took his position. Then I have no choice, let's start, he said. Then, Mikoto and Itachi charged at each other and clashed blades, even though they were fighting for different reasons. Both Mikoto and Itachi were fighting for their families. Naruto dodged another one of the fox's tails as it smashed the house he was just standing on. Fuck, he thought as he kept running. How the hell did the first Hokage catch this thing by himself? He thought as he quickly went through the hand signs for combination style, scorching white phosphorus. He then blew a thick white cloud at the fox. Naruto made this jutsu by combining earth, fire, and wind chakra to make white smoke that burned and stuck to the fox's fur when it touched it. Mikoto, who had an earth affinity, taught Naruto the basics. When Fugaku saw this, he suggested that Naruto use his wind affinity and basic fire jutsu in combination with basic earth jutsu to make a new technique. When Naruto saw the fox start flailing around and trying to put out the white hot flames that wouldn't go out, he thought, okay, I got it off balance, now I just have to. But then a giant toad came out and started fighting the giant fox. Naruto then saw a white-haired man with a red hiyori and a headband with the kanji for oil on it land in front of him. The old man was about to start asking Naruto questions, but when he looked at Naruto's face, he suddenly felt happy and relieved. Jiraiya stuttered, and Naruto nodded. Naruto, my boy, you're here. I can't believe he started, but Naruto stopped him. No time for that, Naruto said, cutting off the toad sage. We have to reseal that fox and me or else this village is doomed, he said as Jiraiya nodded. Alright, let's do it, Jiraiya said as he teleported himself and Naruto to the top of Gamabunta. The toad was now far away from the fox. After all these years, I've been looking for you, and now you're here, Jiraiya told Naruto as he looked at him. I can't wait to find Sensei when this is over and show him that you're back, Naruto said with a smile. Naruto was back, and Jiraiya didn't care how or why. He can fix his mistakes, train Naruto, and make him the ninja that Minato and Kushina have always known he could be. Naruto, on the other hand, was just staring at the man blankly. Jiraiya, he thought, is the man who left me when he was supposed to take care of me. Let's see if you will fix your mistake or if you will make another one, he thought as they both turned their attention back to the raging fox, including Sai and Izumi. Sai and Izumi were fighting the plant man who was with the masked man who attacked Naruto. They both thought that this opponent would be very strong and skilled. As Izumi cut off his head and burned his body with a fire jutsu, Sai and Izumi looked at each other. Izumi asked, was he really that weak? Sai gave her a shrug in response. I guess he wasn't as big of a threat as we thought, Sai said as he sealed up the burned body of the strange plant man. Go find Mikoto or Fugaku and help them, he told Izumi, who nodded and sped off. Sai started to run to the house he and Naruto shared. After I get the items, I have to find Tetsuo so we can get ready for the last part of the plan, he thought as he ran. With Fugaku threw another fireball at the masked man, but it went through him. He then punched the man after using his technique. The masked thought, damn, I can't afford to lose now. He used his Kamui to appear behind Fugaku, but Fugaku jumped away and threw several kunai with paper bombs attached to them. The explosion shook the area, and when the smoke cleared, Fugaku could see that he had damaged the man's mask, showing the right side of his face. Fugaku looked at the man and said, "How pitiful. You have a Sharingan and can pass through objects, but you're still losing. If you're a Uchiha, you're a pitiful failure." He then summoned his Susanoo and attacked again. The man in the mask thought, "Shit, all these years, and this is all I can do," he thought as he dodged a punch from the Susanoo. With Mikoto, Itachi and Mikoto were fighting, and Itachi was having a very hard time with Mikoto. Her skills haven't changed at all in all the years she's been a housewife, and her time with Kushina Uzumaki and Hitomi Hyuga has brought her to a point where she could fight anyone. Mikoto jumped away and quickly made the hand signs for Earth-style mud bullets. She then sent a barrage of mud projectiles at Itachi, who was about to block them with his sword, but was hit in the back by a fireball and hit by his mother's Earth-style jutsu. As he was healing from the attack, he looked up and saw his girlfriend Izumi standing next to Mikoto. "Izumi," Itachi said, and Izumi looked at him disgustedly. "Itachi," she said with anger and sadness in her voice, "you wanted to kill the whole Uchiha clan. Were you going to kill me, too?" Itachi couldn't answer the question with words, but his silence said it all. "You monster," Izumi yelled. "I loved you. I really loved you, and you were going to kill me over a village that would just throw you away like trash. I hate you, Itachi, and I'll make sure you die for your treachery." Both Mikoto and Izumi attacked Itachi. Itachi's fight just got a lot harder. He was now fighting two people he loved, and to make matters worse, they were winning. Alongside Naruto and Jiraiya, Naruto said impatiently, "Hurry up, will you?" as he watched the Nine Tails thrashing in front of him, trying to get away from Gamabunta and the two other toads holding it back. "Hold your horses, kid," Jiraiya said as he carefully painted another sealing kanji onto Naruto. "This is a delicate process. If you make a mistake and die, the whole village will be in trouble unless we seal it into another baby, which I'm sure you don't want to do." Naruto waited patiently for the old toad hermit to finish writing, despite wanting to scream that it was his father who started this mess. "Okay, done," Jiraiya said as he put his hand on Naruto's shoulder and teleported in front of Gamabunta and the nine-tailed fox. Naruto looked at the huge fox demon and shivered. He had always known what he had to do, but seeing it in front of him made him downright scared. "Naruto, I have to fight you," Jiraiya said to the boy. "This is probably going to be the most painful thing you'll ever go through," he added. Naruto looked back at him and then at the Kyuubi and huffed, "Just do it already." He was mentally and physically exhausted from everything that had happened today. Jiraiya quickly went through hand seals until he got to the last one. Sealing Jutsu, 8 trigram seal reconstruction. He yelled as the kanji written all over Naruto's body started to glow. Naruto then started howling in pain. Naruto felt like his skin was burning off and his muscles were tearing away. His bones felt like they were being ground into dust, and his mind kept showing him horrible pictures of destruction and death. He was yelling and screaming as the nine-tailed fox was being resealed into the young blonde boy, and the tattoo on his stomach started to heal. The fox did its best to fight against the seal's power, but it didn't work because the seal pulled it back into its blonde host. As the last part of the fox disappeared into Naruto's seal, the village went completely silent. The only sound was Naruto huffing and sobbing in pain as blood dripped from his nose, mouth, eyes, and ears. Naruto then slowly got to his feet, his body rocking back and forth because the pain was so bad and the adrenaline was running out. "I must find him," Naruto said. Jiraiya asked, "Find who?" But Naruto vanished in a puff of smoke before he could answer. "Damn it, Naruto, you're not in shape to be wandering off," Jiraiya yelled. Before he could do anything else, he heard an explosion and decided to go find out what happened. With Fugaku, Obaido Uchiha, who had taken off his mask and was now facing the head of his old clan, narrowly avoided Fugaku's exploding kunai. Both men were huffing and puffing as their chakra and stamina slowly drained. Just as Fugaku was about to fight Obaido again, he heard a thud behind him. When he turned around, he saw Naruto badly hurt and almost unconscious. Fugaku then saw an opening that could finally end this fight. "Naruto," he yelled, "use your Mangekyou Sharingan on him," he said, pointing at Obaido. Naruto attacked the scarred-faced man with his Mangekyou without asking any questions. Fugaku then ran at Obaido with a kunai in his hand and made a stabbing motion. Fugaku was now just a few feet away from Obaido, and Obaido was trying to use his Kamui ability. Fugaku stuck his kunai into Obaido's chest, making the disfigured Uchiha cough up blood. Fugaku then took out a second kunai and stabbed Obaido in the head. As Obaido's body fell to the ground, he had one last thought, "Rin, I'm sorry." As Obaido fell to the ground, Fugaku looked at him and wondered how he was still alive. He heard a thud and turned to see Naruto lying on his side. Naruto, shouted Fugaku as he ran toward his apprentice. Master, Naruto mumbled weakly. Yes, it's me, said Fugaku, looking at Naruto. What happened? He asked. I sealed the 9 tails back into him, Jiraiya said as he landed near Fugaku. What the hell happened? He asked. Fugaku cursed because he hadn't expected Jiraiya to be here. He was low on chakra and tired from fighting Obaido. Before he could say anything, he saw a group of crows gathering around Jiraiya. Itachi said, Lord Jiraiya, and grabbed the toad sage. We must retreat, he said simply as they disappeared into the crows until only black feathers remained. Fugaku, Naruto, Mikoto yelled as she landed next to the 2 hurt men. Are you two okay? What happened? She asked as she ran over to help them. Fugaku pointed to Obaido's dead body as Mikoto gasped in horror. Obaido was the mastermind behind this, but that's not important, he said, picking up Naruto. Itachi and Jiraiya are still free, we need to finish the plan quickly. 8 hours later, Fugaku was now on top of the Hokage Tower, or what was left of it. Nearly the whole village was standing in front of the tower, and Fugaku was using a projection jutsu so everyone could see him clearly. As the head of Konoha's police force and one of the 2 remaining council members, he was about to give a speech to calm the panicking villagers. Fugaku cleared his throat and started talking. People of Konoha, what happened last night was a horrible tragedy that could have been prevented. Hiruzen Sarutobi was a fool and a cage past his prime. Now is the time for new leadership. Now is the time for reconciliation. Now is the time for the Leaf Village to rise from the ashes and rebuild. People of Konoha, this is the beginning of a new era. Fugaku finished and closed his eyes. Everyone who was watching him wondered what he was doing. He then slowly opened his eyes, showing his new eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, and said only one word, Katamatsukami. 1 hour after Fugaku had spoken, Fugaku, Mikoto, and Izumi were all walking to Naruto's house to check on him. Even though Fugaku had used Katamatsukami to make the villagers forget about Naruto, and a few other things, he still didn't trust Konoha enough to send Naruto to the hospital. So, are the damages that bad? Izumi asked. Fugaku nodded. 1/4 of the Inuzuka clan, half of the Akamichi clan, and the entire Hyuga clan, Fugaku said, pinching the bridge of his nose. Fugaku said, that treacherous Obaido really hurt us this time. 300 ninja and 500 civilians died, which is almost as bad as the first time. It doesn't matter, Mikoto said to get their attention. We didn't cause the destruction, Obaido did, and he's dead. Our plan may have meant death, but it wouldn't have been more than 40 people, she said with a sigh. This was all the fault of a madman, no one else, she said. Izumi and Fugaku both nodded until Izumi asked, what about Jiraiya and Itachi? As Fugaku sighed again. One nightmare at a time. Izumi, he told her as he was still thinking about how to deal with the 2 rogues who could still cause trouble. Naruto's house. Fugaku, Mikoto, and Izumi came to the house. Fugaku knocked, expecting Sai or Tetsuo to open the door. Instead, a little girl with lavender eyes opened the door and spoke. Who are you? She asked the 3 people at the door, who were all surprised because they thought that all Hyugas had been killed. Fugaku Uchiha, Mikoto Uchiha, Izumi Uchiha, Fugaku said, pointing. And you are? He asked the little girl as she shrank and hid behind the door. Hinata Hyuga, she said as Fugaku and Mikoto looked at her with wide eyes. Not only is she a Hyuga, she is also the heiress. I'm sorry, but if you're here to see Naruto, you can't because he's sick, she started, but Mikoto cut her off. It's okay, sweetie, she said in a soothing voice. We are Naruto's mother and father, she added as Hinata eeped and opened the door. I'm sorry, please come in. And Naruto is in his room, she said as she led them to Naruto's room. When they walked in, they saw something strange, a bandaged Naruto sitting in bed with a second little girl feeding him from a bowl. Come on, Naruto, the little girl said. Eat your chicken soup, it will make you feel better if you're hurt. Okay, Naruto said. That's if I'm sick, Hanabi, not if a big-ass demon fox beat me half to death, Naruto said. Hanabi then hit him on the head, which made Naruto cry out in pain. Language. Hanabi said, I'm a little kid, dickless. Sai, who was drawing in a chair on the other side of the room, laughed. Naruto yelled, what the hell, Hanabi? But he couldn't finish because Mikoto grabbed his ear and pulled. Don't dare use that kind of language in front of a lady, Mikoto told him, then turned and smiled at Hanabi. And sweetie, please don't use that word. It's not nice, she said in a motherly way. Hanabi looked embarrassed. Yes ma'am, she said as she picked up the spoon once again. Okay Naruto, eat up, she said. Naruto got embarrassed, gave up, and let Hanabi feed him with a spoon. Tetsuo walked in and said, Oh, Lord Fugaku, I'm glad you came. Fugaku also greeted him. Let's go into the hall and talk about Naruto's injuries, he said as the 2 men left. Hinata then moved over to Naruto, which made Mikoto smile. "So, girls," she said, getting the attention of both Hinata and Hanabi. "How did you get here?" she asked as Hanabi pulled out a piece of paper. Hanabi said, "Naruto gave me this paper and told me to call him if my sister and I ever got into trouble." And Hinata nodded. Hinata looked at Naruto and said, "He saved us like a hero from a storybook. He came and saved us from the monster. He told us to hide here while he fought it." Hinata's words made Naruto blush. "I didn't do anything special," he said as he leaned back in his bed. "I promised you too that I would save you if you were in trouble, and I did." Hanabi laughed and snuggled up next to Naruto. "You're our hero, Naru," she told him as she kissed him on the cheek. The embarrassed blonde boy blushed, and Mikoto, Hinata, and Sai laughed. Fugaku then walked into the room and said something. "May I have the room? I need to talk to Naruto alone," he asked. Everyone in the room left, leaving only Naruto and Fugaku. Fugaku then sat next to Naruto on the bed and spoke. "Son, I never expected this to happen or for you to go through so much pain. I apologize for my negligence," Fugaku said as Naruto clenched his fists. "Don't worry, father," Naruto said, and Fugaku jerked away at the word. "You couldn't have seen something like this coming," Fugaku said in response to Naruto's next question. "First with Obaido's eye, now you have a full set," he said as he stood up. "Since we have Danzo's research, we can find a way to put his eye in you without taking your other eye out," he said as Naruto nodded. "Yes, I'd like to keep at least one of my eyes," he said as he touched his one remaining blue eye. "What about Jiraiya and Itachi? Are they dead?" Naruto asked. Fugaku shook his head. "No, they're still out there, so we need to get ready for their counterattack," Fugaku said as Naruto nodded. "But until then, get some rest, you've earned it," he said. "Thank you, father," and Fugaku smiled. "Thank you, son," said Fugaku as Naruto smiled. As Fugaku closed the door, Naruto looked up at the ceiling and thought, "Son, that sounds nice," and then he fell asleep. After 2 days with Tsunade. Tsunade was on her way back to her hotel room. After another day of drinking and gambling, she had decided to get some rest so she could make up for her losses the next day. As she went to her room, she unlocked the door, expecting Shizune to give her another lecture. Instead, she saw something that scared her to the core. Jiraiya was sitting in a chair looking enraged while Shizune was treating a wounded young man in Anbu armor. Jiraiya, Tsunade said, "What are you doing here?" "Who is this boy?" she asked, to which Jiraiya looked at her. "Sensei is dead," he said, and Tsunade's heart dropped. "The Uchiha have taken over Konoha. Naruto is being held captive by the Uchiha, and only me and Itachi here are standing against them," he said as Tsunade sat in a chair and stared into space, trying to figure out what had happened. Tsunade asked Jiraiya, "And what do you want from me?" Jiraiya looked at her like she was a fool. Jiraiya stood up and said, "What I want is for you to help me take back the village, help protect your grandfather's legacy, and become the next Hokage." Tsunade scowled at Jiraiya. She yelled, "Why should I go back to that village? I lost," but she couldn't finish because Jiraiya hit her, grabbed her shirt, and pulled her close. "I don't care what you fucking lost, woman," Jiraiya said with anger on his face, and in his eyes the village is under control of a power-hungry clan. Fugaku has slandered the Hokage name and kidnapped Naruto for fuck's sake. Your pity party has come to an end, Tsunade. You either help me take Fugaku down, rescue Naruto, and fix this problem, or I kill you now. Take Shizune with me and her and Itachi do it ourselves. What is your answer, Tsunade?" Jiraiya asked as he formed a Rasengan in his hand and held it inches away from Tsunade's face to get the message across. Tsunade looked at the angry man and realized this was not her perverted teammate Jiraiya. This was a man on a mission, and he was more than willing to kill her in order to achieve his goals. "Okay, Jiraiya," Tsunade said, "I'll join you." Jiraiya let the Rasengan go out and looked back at Shizune, who was scared, and Itachi, who was mostly healed. "Itachi," Jiraiya said, gaining his attention, "go to the fire capital and get a Sumasaru Tobai. Once you do, look around for any leaf ninja who were out of the village during the attack," he said as Itachi nodded. Jiraiya said, "Tsunade," which got the blonde woman's attention. "We need to find more," but a puff of smoke and a snake with a scroll on its back cut him off. "Jiraiya of the SS Sannin," the snake said as he threw the scroll at Jiraiya. "My master will be waiting for you," he said before disappearing in a puff of smoke. Jiraiya opened the scroll and read it. When he was done, he closed it with a sigh and said, "Looks like old Orochimaru wants to talk," which made Itachi, Shizune, and Tsunade look surprised. No surprise there, he wanted to destroy Konoha, he said as he looked at Tsunade, and then at Itachi. "He probably wants to rub it in our faces and kill us, so let's just go kill him and be done with it," he said as he walked out of the room. Itachi, who was barely able to move, followed, and Tsunade and Shizune did as well. After leaving the village they were staying in, they walked until they reached the open field on the scroll. Jiraiya saw a lone figure standing in the middle of the field, his long hair flowing in the breeze. Orochimaru, Jiraiya said simply. Jiraiya, Orochimaru said without his usual taunting. Okay, enough with the small talk, Jiraiya said as he got into a fighting stance. I don't know why you're here, but I don't care. I've got enough on my plate without you slithering out of whatever hole you were hiding in. So, let's end this, you pale-faced pedo, he said as he stomped on the ground. Tsunade and Itachi also got into fighting positions because they knew how dangerous Orochimaru was and that this wasn't going to be an easy fight. Orochimaru didn't even flinch as he looked at Jiraiya, stone-faced and steady as a rock. Jiraiya, you are still the same clueless idiot from our team all those years ago, Orochimaru said, which made Jiraiya take a back track. I'm not here to fight you, you retarded toad summoner, Orochimaru said, his patience wearing thin. Then why are you here, snake-faced, Jiraiya asked, to which Orochimaru responded with the last word they ever thought they ever hear come out of his mouth. Orochimaru said, I'm here to help. Jiraiya, Tsunade, Itachi, and Shizune looked at the rogue Sannin in shock. Itachi was the first to get up and talk. He asked Orochimaru, who was getting angry, why would you want to help us? Orochimaru looked at Itachi and said, your clan of barbarians basically destroyed the Leaf Village in one night. I've been planning for over 10 years to destroy the Leaf, kill Sarutobi-sensei, and take the village for myself, Itachi said, looking angry. I went rogue, built up an army, and started my own village. It took me years to get ready, but those cursed Uchiha took away my goal in one night. I'll never be able to kill Sarutobi-sensei, but at least I can get my revenge, he yelled as he looked at Jiraiya. I'm sure you are not doing this out of the kindness of your heart, Orochimaru, so what do you want, he asked as Orochimaru chuckled darkly. All I want is a pair of Sharingan and to kill the one responsible for killing Sarutobi, he said as Itachi flinched as this monster wanted his clan's sacred Dojutsu. Jiraiya was thinking hard. Okay, I'll work with Orochimaru, let him kill Fugaku, and give him a pair of Sharingans. We'll put Konoha back in the right hands and save Naruto. As Jiraiya weighed the pros and cons, he thought, but Orochimaru is a sneaky son of a whore and will probably betray us in the end. Jiraiya finally sighed and said, okay, you got a deal. This shocked both Tsunade and Itachi. Wise choice, Jiraiya, Orochimaru said, I'll contact you in 3 weeks. Find as many allies you can, so until then. Ta-ta, he said as he disappeared in a swirls of leaves, leaving only Jiraiya and his allies in the area. Itachi then rushed up to Jiraiya and started screaming at him. Itachi yelled, have you lost your fucking mind? Since Itachi was always so calm, even he had no idea what was going on. You just promised probably the most dangerous rogue ninja in the world the most powerful Dojutsu in return for help. How can you, he began until Jiraiya raised up his hand stopping him. Jiraiya said as he looked at the still smoking Uchiha, you can kill him after we save the village and Naruto. I'd make a deal with the devil to keep Naruto from becoming Fugaku's pet. You said Mikoto said she thinks of him as a son? He said as Itachi nodded. After what happened to your brother, Fugaku probably let Mikoto get close to him. She's a heartbroken, delusional woman who can't see that the boy is just a puppet for her husband, Jiraiya said as Itachi settled down. Naruto is trapped in a dark place, and not only that, but he has the 9 tails sealed back into him. My second biggest mistake. Fugaku has a brainwashed little boy with the most powerful Biju in the world sealed inside him. If teaming up with Orochimaru tips the scales in our favor, then goddamn it, I'll carry that burden to the fucking grave, Jiraiya finished. Shizune asked, so, what now, Lord Jiraiya? As Jiraiya thought for a moment, Tsunade and I will go to Taki to ask for help, Jiraiya said. They won't be too happy to hear that their biggest ally has had a coup, and they'll want to secure their military ally as soon as possible, he said. Shizune, you and Itachi will go to the fire capital and get Asuma. Also, try to find as many free leaf shinobi as you can, he said. Shizune looked confused. All shinobi in Konoha are under that damn genjutsu Fugaku used, so they are compromised. We need every shinobi who is outside because they will be loyal to us, he said, and Shizune and Itachi nodded. Itachi bowed and said, understood. Right, Shizune said, see you soon, Lady Tsunade, she said as both her and Itachi disappeared in a swirl of leaves. Tsunade then gave Jiraiya a hard look and asked, will this work, Jiraiya? Will all of this be enough to beat Fugaku? Jiraiya tightened his fists. Jiraiya said, it better, Tsunade, or God help me. He looked up at the sky and said, Minato, Kushina, don't worry. As he turned his attention back to Tsunade, he thought, I'll save Naruto if it's the last thing I do. Let's go, Tsunade, he said. We have things to do and not much time to do them. He and Tsunade started walking west toward where they were going.
I will continue the series in next part. Till then, we weeb offline.